Every single one of us in this room has a choice to wake up and repeat the same cycle that keeps us stuck, or to break it with habits that redefine who we are. See, life doesn't change because you wish it would. Life changes because you discipline yourself into habits that build consistency, strength, and resilience. I'm not talking about theories. I'm talking about evidence, proof, the science, the real stuff that transforms you when the motivation fades. You want to transform your life? Then you better be ready to build it on habits that can't be shaken. Tonight, I'm giving you 5 evidence-based habits, not opinions, not hype, but habits that will transform your life forever if you commit. Sleep is not weakness. Sleep is not laziness. Sleep is the foundation that your greatness is built on. Everybody talks about grinding 24/7, about hustling until your eyes bleed, about never closing your eyes because someone else out there is awake chasing the dream. But let me tell you something, the body is not a machine. It is a temple. And if you don't give that temple rest, if you don't restore it, if you don't recover it, it will collapse on you. Science has already proven this, but you don't need science to know it in your bones. You felt it those days when you walked around half dead, when your energy was drained before you even started, when your brain was foggy and your spirit was heavy. That is not life. That is survival. And too many people are surviving when they could be thriving. The difference isn't just in the hours you work. It's in the quality of your recovery. Because the warrior who rests deeply wakes up sharper, stronger, more dangerous than the one who never lets his body rebuild. I lived this. Every season in the NFL wasn't about how many hits I could deliver. It was about how well I could recover to hit even harder the next Sunday. And recovery always started with sleep. You can't shortcut it. You can't fake it. You can't caffeine your way around it. Sleep is the tool that your body uses to repair muscles, to rebuild memory, to sharpen focus, to regulate hormones, to balance emotions. It is not a luxury. It is oxygen. Try holding your breath. See how long you last. That's what you're doing to your body when you rob yourself of sleep night after night. You're suffocating your potential before it even has a chance to breathe. But here's the crazy part. Most people know this and still choose to ignore it. They know they're tired. They know their body is begging for rest, but they scroll one more hour. They binge one more episode. They chase one more dopamine hit from a glowing screen. And then they wonder why their energy is gone, why their patience is gone, why their willpower disappears by noon. It's because they've been fighting battles with no armor, stepping into arenas with no preparation, trying to win championships with a drained engine. That is why mastering sleep is not optional, it's mandatory if you want transformation. The science is clear. Sleep strengthens memory, it boosts learning, it resets the nervous system, it increases performance, it repairs tissue, it balances hunger hormones, it regulates stress. Athletes who sleep less than 6 hours a night have a higher risk of injury. Students who sleep 7 to 9 hours outperform those who don't. Entrepreneurs who guard their rest make better decisions under pressure. Sleep is like sharpening your sword before battle. Too many people are swinging dull blades at life because they never took time to sharpen them. Think about lions. Think about predators in the wild. They don't hunt 24/7. They sleep, they conserve energy. And when they rise with ferocity, with precision, with power. That's the lesson. You don't need to be awake all the time. You need to be awake at the right time, fully loaded, fully present, fully alive. And that comes from sleep. Now let's break it down even deeper. Your body goes through cycles when you sleep. It's not just about the hours, it's about the stages. Deep sleep is where your body repairs, where muscles rebuild, where growth hormone releases. REM sleep is where your brain processes, where memory strengthens, where creativity sparks. Miss one stage and you rob yourself of transformation. If you sleep but your sleep is shallow, if you sleep but your environment is loud, If you sleep, but your mind is racing, you wake up tired because your body never got what it needed. This is why I say you must master the art of sleep, not just closing your eyes, but preparing your environment, preparing your mind, preparing your body to rest like a champion. Darken your room, shut off the noise, let your body know it's time to shut down. Cut the screens, cut the blue light, because your brain needs melatonin to kick in and those screens are stealing it from you. Have a rhythm, a consistent schedule, because your body loves rhythm, it loves cycles, it loves routine. You want to be unstoppable in the day, then respect the night. Train your mind to see sleep as fuel, not wasted time. That mindset shift alone can change your life. And let me tell you, this isn't about weakness, this is about power. People wear their lack of sleep like a badge of honor. They brag about 4 hours. They brag about grinding with no rest. That's not power, that's destruction. The evidence is undeniable. Chronic sleep deprivation is linked to heart disease, diabetes, obesity, depression, anxiety, weakened immunity. You want to transform your life? Then you better protect your sleep like your life depends on it, because it does. You can't conquer the world if your own body is crumbling from the inside out. Now, let's get real. Ask yourself right now, how many nights have you cheated yourself of sleep this week? How many mornings did you wake up already behind because you refused to give yourself the restoration you needed? You think the little compromises don't matter, but they add up. Every hour you steal from sleep is an hour you steal from your performance, your clarity, your patience, your strength, and those stolen hours compound. One night becomes a week becomes a month, and before you know it, you're walking around a shell of who you could be. Sleep debt is real, and the interest rate is brutal. But here's the good news, you can take it back. The body is miraculous. The brain is resilient. Start prioritizing sleep, and you'll see changes you didn't think were possible. Your energy will rise. Your creativity will spark. Your workouts will feel stronger. Your emotions will stabilize. Your focus will lock in. Imagine living every day with your mind sharp as a blade and your body ready for battle. That's what mastering sleep gives you. It's not just rest, it's preparation for war. So I ask you, what's keeping you awake? Stress, fear, distractions. You must confront those things head on. Write down what's on your mind before bed. Release it from your head onto paper. Create rituals that tell your body it's time to shut down. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's stretching, maybe it's gratitude journaling, but build a pattern that signals your brain to rest. Stop letting the chaos of the day bleed into the peace of the night. Sleep is sacred. And when you treat it as sacred, your life changes. People want to talk about discipline, but they ignore the most fundamental discipline of all the discipline: to rest, to know when to stop, to know when to step back, so you can step forward even stronger. There is no greatness without recovery. There is no transformation without restoration. You can push as hard as you want in the gym, in your career, in your relationships, but if you don't give your body the chance to rebuild, all that effort goes to waste. Sleep is not the enemy of hustle. It is the fuel of hustle. It is not the enemy of ambition. It is the engine of ambition. Master your nights and you will master your days. Protect your rest and you will elevate your performance. Treat sleep like your secret weapon, because that's exactly what it is. You cannot expect to run a race on an empty tank. You cannot expect to fight battles with no weapons. You cannot expect to transform your life if the very fuel you put into your body is poison. Too many people want greatness. Too many people want success, but they keep sabotaging themselves at the table, in the kitchen, in the drive-thru. The truth is simple but powerful. Your body is the vehicle that carries your destiny. And if you put garbage in, you will get garbage out. You wouldn't pour dirty oil into a Ferrari and expect it to hit top speed. So why do you keep pouring processed foods, sugar, alcohol, and empty calories into your body and expect it to perform like a machine built for greatness. Precision matters. What you eat, how you eat, when you eat, it all creates the chemistry inside your body. It all dictates your energy, your clarity, your resilience. Food is not just pleasure. Food is information. Food is fuel. Food is medicine. Food is energy. Food is life. I learned this the hard way. In the league, you don't just play against opponents. You play against time, against wear and tear, against fatigue. And I realized early that I could train harder than anyone. I could study film longer than anyone. I could lift more, run more, sweat more. But if I didn't fuel with precision, if I didn't put the right things in my body, all that work would not matter. The body needs the right building blocks to repair itself. It needs protein for muscle recovery. It needs healthy fats for brain function. It needs complex carbs for sustained energy. It needs vitamins and minerals for every single process that keeps you alive and strong. Without precision, you are guessing, and guessing leads to weakness. Evidence is clear: diets high in whole foods, lean proteins, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and water lead to longer lives, lower disease risk, higher energy. Diets filled with processed foods, added sugars, trans fats lead to disease, obesity, fatigue, mental fog. If you want transformation, you can't negotiate with this truth. Your fuel impacts your focus. Eat heavy junk and watch how your brain slows down, how your body drags, how your patience shortens. Eat clean, eat balanced, hydrate, and watch how you feel sharper, calmer, more resilient. The science backs it. Blood sugar spikes lead to energy crashes. Poor hydration leads to fatigue. Nutrient deficiencies lead to mood swings. But beyond science, you know it in your own experience. That day you ate fast food for lunch and felt like sleeping at your desk. That night you binged sugar and couldn't think straight the next morning. That week you lived on caffeine and processed snacks and wondered why your workouts felt weak, why your mind was scattered. Fuel is the foundation. It's the difference between surviving the day and dominating the day. Think about warriors. Think about soldiers. Think about athletes. They don't just eat to feel full. They eat to perform. They know their body is an engine, and every bite is either sharpening their edge or dulling it. That's how you need to approach food. Not as comfort, not as escape, but as strategy. Stop eating mindlessly. Start eating intentionally. Ask yourself before every meal, is this fueling me or draining me? Is this feeding my future or stealing from it? Precision means you make choices with awareness, not with impulse. And that discipline builds strength. Now let's talk hydration, because too many people think food is everything and forget that water is life. Your body is 60% water, your brain even more. Every process inside you, digestion, circulation, temperature regulation, joint lubrication, depends on water. Yet people walk around dehydrated, wondering why they're tired, why they can't focus, why they have headaches. Dehydration, as little as 2%, can reduce performance. Slow reaction times decrease strength. You want to think like a champion, move like a champion, recover like a champion, then you need to hydrate like one. Water should be your main fuel, not soda, not energy drinks loaded with chemicals, not endless coffee. Precision means knowing what your body truly needs, and nothing is more basic, more essential than water, and then comes the question of consistency. It's not about one salad, it's not about one smoothie, it's about the pattern you live by. You can't eat clean for 2 days and then spend 5 days undoing it. Transformation comes from habits repeated daily. That's why evidence-based nutrition focuses on patterns, not quick fixes. Diets that restrict everything, that promise shortcuts, they fail because they don't teach you how to fuel with precision long-term. Fueling with precision means sustainability. It means you build a way of eating that works with your life, that gives you energy to chase your goals, that strengthens you instead of depleting you. It's not about punishment, it's about empowerment. Food is not the enemy, food is the ally when you choose with precision. And here's the deeper truth to food. you choose reflects the respect you have for yourself. Every bite is a declaration of what you believe you're worth. If you keep feeding yourself junk, what you're saying is you don't value your future, you don't value your energy, you don't value your mission. But when you fuel with precision, when you choose the foods that strengthen, that nourish, that energize, you are telling yourself, I am worth it. I am disciplined. I am prepared to carry the weight of my dreams. It's not just about nutrition. It's about identity. Every disciplined choice reinforces the person you're becoming. And the opposite is true. Every careless choice reinforces the cycle of weakness. Look at high performers across every field. Athletes, CEOs, leaders. Almost all of them have disciplined eating routines. They protect their fuel because they understand that precision at the table translates into power in the arena. They don't treat food casually. They treat it strategically. And you must do the same if you want transformation. Precision means meal prepping instead of grabbing fast food. It means planning ahead instead of acting impulsively. It means balancing your macros, hitting your proteins, getting your greens, choosing whole over processed. It's about ownership of what you put in your mouth, because ownership of your fuel is ownership of your future. And let me get even more real. Some of you are battling addictions to sugar, to processed food, to emotional eating. And you've been using food to escape stress, to numb pain, to celebrate, to comfort. But food is not therapy. Food is fuel. You want therapy, face your struggles, heal your wounds, build your resilience. Don't drown them in sugar and salt and grease. Every time you do that, you're only burying yourself deeper. Precision requires honesty. It requires you to stop lying to yourself about what you're doing to your body. You can't transform your life while clinging to excuses at the dinner table. You can't demand excellence while feeding mediocrity. Transformation demands sacrifice. It demands discipline. It demands precision. But let's not confuse precision with perfection. You don't need to be flawless. You don't need to track every calorie. You don't need to live in fear of food. Precision is about awareness, intention, and discipline. It's about building a strong foundation where most of your choices are aligned with your goals. And when you choose to indulge, you do it consciously, not impulsively. That's the difference. Precision gives you control. Control gives you freedom. Without precision, food controls you. With precision, you control food. So what does this look like practically? It looks like starting your day with protein to stabilize energy instead of donuts that spike and crash you. It looks like choosing water throughout the day instead of soda. It looks like filling half your plate with vegetables for nutrients and fiber. It looks like eating whole grains instead of processed carbs for sustained energy. It looks like healthy fats, avocados, nuts, olive oil for brain health. It looks like lean proteins to build and repair. It looks like meal prepping so you're never caught off guard. It looks like saying no to shortcuts and yes to discipline. That is precision. Remember, this transformation is not built in the gym alone. It's built in the kitchen, in the grocery store, in the choices you make 3, 4, 5 times every single day. Every bite is either moving you closer to your potential or pulling you away from it. When you master your fuel, you master your energy, your focus, your strength, your resilience. You give your body the tools it needs to fight for you instead of against you. And that is how you build transformation at the cellular level, at the foundational level, at the level where real change happens. Movement is life. The moment you stop moving, you start dying. Every single system in your body, from your muscles to your heart, from your lungs to your brain, is designed for motion. But the tragedy of this modern world is that people have traded movement for convenience, traded sweat for comfort, traded strength for weakness. Elevators instead of stairs, screens instead of walking outside, cars instead of using their own 2 legs. And then they wonder why their energy is gone, why their bodies ache, why their minds feel heavy, why their spirits are restless. The human body was never designed to sit 8, 10, 12 hours a day. It was designed to move, to carry, to push, to pull, to lift, to run, to sweat, to express life through motion. That is why I tell you, if you want to transform your life, you must commit to moving daily. No excuses. This is not about becoming an athlete. This is not about chasing a perfect body. This is not about competing against anyone else. This is about honoring the gift you were given. This body that carries your soul, this machine that was built to endure. Movement is medicine. Movement is therapy. Movement is transformation. The evidence is overwhelming. People who move daily, even just 30 minutes of walking, reduce their risk of heart disease, diabetes, obesity, depression, anxiety. Movement increases energy, sharpens focus, boosts mood, strengthens bones, builds resilience. The science doesn't lie. But even if you ignored the science, your own body tells you the truth. You know the feeling after a workout, that clarity, that strength, that confidence, that fire. That is your body thanking you for honoring it. That is your spirit reminding you what you are capable of. I remember days in my career when my body was beaten, when the hits piled up, when every joint screamed, when the pain told me to stay still. But I also knew that staying still would destroy me faster than the hits. So I kept moving, stretching, lifting, running, sweating. Movement wasn't punishment. Movement was salvation. It wasn't about how much weight I lifted. It was about showing my body I respected it enough to keep it alive, to keep it sharp, to keep it ready. And that lesson doesn't stop when the game ends. That lesson is for life. Because life will hit you harder than any opponent. And if your body is weak, if your health is compromised, if you are fragile because you neglected movement, then you cannot fight back. But if you build the habit of moving daily, no excuses, then you carry power into every battle you face. No excuses means exactly that. It doesn't matter if it's raining. It doesn't matter if it's cold. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter if the schedule is packed. You find a way. A 10-minute walk, a set of push-ups, a stretch session before bed, a run in the morning, a climb up the stairs instead of an elevator. Movement is not negotiable. And the truth is, the people who say they don't have time, they don't lack time, they lack priority. Because the same people spend hours scrolling, hours watching TV, hours doing things that drain them, but they won't invest 30 minutes in movement that could change their lives. That is not a time problem. That is a mindset problem. And transformation only comes when you shift that mindset. When you stop saying, I don't have time, and start saying, I will make time. No excuses. Understand this. Your muscles respond to use. Your heart responds to demand. Your lungs respond to challenge. Your bones respond to stress. The body adapts to what you ask of it. If you ask for nothing, it gives you weakness. If you ask for strength, it builds strength. If you ask for endurance, it builds endurance. If you ask for resilience, it builds resilience. But the law of adaptation is clear. You must move daily to keep adapting. Consistency is the key. One workout won't transform you. One walk won't heal you. One stretch won't fix you. But repetition, the daily movement, the daily sweat, that is where the transformation happens. You don't brush your teeth once and expect your teeth to stay clean forever. You don't eat one meal and expect to be full for life. Movement is the same. It must be daily. It must be consistent. It must be disciplined. And let me tell you, the mental benefits of movement are as powerful as the physical. Exercise releases endorphins, those natural chemicals that make you feel alive, that reduce stress, that fight anxiety, that give you hope when darkness creeps in. Movement is a weapon against depression, a shield against anxiety, a therapy for trauma. Too many people seek pills, seek escapes, when the evidence shows that daily movement is one of the most powerful treatments for the human mind. Your brain thrives on oxygen, on circulation, on challenge. When you move, you send blood rushing to your brain. You stimulate growth, you sharpen memory, you improve focus. That fog you feel when you sit all day, that heaviness in your head, that lack of creativity, most of it can be lifted by moving your body. And you don't need a gym membership. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need perfect conditions. All you need is commitment. Body weight exercises, running, walking, climbing, stretching, dancing, playing, anything that makes you move. The best workout is not the one with the perfect program. It's the one you actually do. Too many people paralyze themselves with planning, with research, with waiting for the perfect conditions. Stop waiting. Start moving. You don't need motivation. You need discipline. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what keeps you moving daily. No excuses. Let me break it even simpler. The evidence shows that 150 minutes of moderate activity per week can reduce risk of early death by 33%. That's just 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's one TV episode worth of time. But those 30 minutes, if you do them daily, could add years to your life, could add fire to your energy, could add strength to your spirit. You cannot afford to ignore that. You cannot afford to keep saying tomorrow, because every day you delay, your body is weakening, your potential is slipping, movement is the price of life, and it is due daily. Now, here's the thing. Movement also teaches you lessons beyond the body. It teaches you perseverance, because when your muscles burn and your lungs scream, you learn how to push past comfort. It teaches you discipline, because showing up daily builds character. It teaches you resilience, because every time you recover from fatigue, you remind yourself you are stronger than you thought. Movement is not just physical, it is spiritual. It is a daily reminder that you are alive, that you can fight, that you can endure. And that is why I say move daily, no excuses. Because without movement, you not only lose your health, you lose your fire. I want you to imagine something. Imagine being 60, 70, 80 years old and still being able to run with your grandkids, still being able to hike, still being able to dance, still being able to carry your own bags, still being independent, still being alive in every sense of the word. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because you move daily, because you refused excuses, because you honored your body. Now imagine the opposite, being trapped in a weak body, dependent on others, robbed of energy, robbed of independence, because you neglected movement. Which vision do you want for your future? Your choices today decide that future. And remember, it's not about comparing yourself to anyone else. It's not about looking like somebody else. It's not about competing against their pace, their weight, their strength. It's about being better than you were yesterday. If yesterday you walked 10 minutes, today walk 15. If yesterday you did 5 push-ups, today do 6. Small steps, daily steps, consistent steps. That is how mountains are moved. That is how lives are transformed. You don't need to move like an Olympian. You just need to move like someone who refuses excuses. So hear me clearly. Move your body daily. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when it's convenient. Today, every day. Because the more you move, the more alive you feel, the more energy you have, the more strength you build, the more resilience you carry into every other part of life. When you move daily, your work improves, your relationships improve, your mood improves, your confidence improves. Movement creates momentum, and momentum creates transformation. And when you refuse excuses, when you commit no matter what, then nothing can stop you. The strongest muscle in your body is not your biceps. It's not your chest. It's not your legs. It's your mind. And the tragedy is most people will spend hours in the gym building their bodies, hours chasing money, building their careers, hours scrolling, building nothing, but they will not give 10 minutes to training, the very mind that controls it all. Your mind is the command center, the control tower, the general of the army. That is your life. If your mind is weak, your body will fail, your discipline will crumble, your dreams will collapse. But if your mind is strong, if it is focused, if it is trained through reflection, then nothing can shake you. That is why transformation demands this. You must train your mind with focused reflection. The world is loud, distractions are everywhere, noise is constant. And in that noise, most people have forgotten how to hear themselves. They have forgotten how to think deeply, how to reflect, how to sharpen their inner world. They move from one task to another, from one distraction to another, never stopping, never pausing, never asking why, never facing themselves. And then they wonder why their lives feel chaotic, why their decisions are poor, why they repeat the same mistakes, why their emotions control them. It is because they never trained the mind. They never sat still long enough to listen. They never reflected with intention. Evidence is clear. Focused reflection, journaling, meditation, prayer, mindfulness reduces stress, improves clarity, strengthens emotional regulation, builds resilience, enhances performance. But beyond the studies, you know this in your spirit. When you pause, when you breathe, when you write, when you think deeply, you feel alignment, you feel strength, you feel clarity. That is the power of reflection. I lived this in the league. Every game was physical, but the battles were won in the mind. Studying film, reviewing plays, analyzing mistakes, reflecting on decisions. I didn't just train my body, I trained my mind. Because when you step into a stadium with 70,000 screaming fans, when chaos surrounds you, when adrenaline surges, you cannot afford a weak mind. Focused reflection built my mental edge. I would replay every snap in my head. I would write down what I learned. I would visualize what was coming. That discipline of reflection gave me calm in chaos, gave me clarity under pressure, gave me strength when emotions ran wild. And that lesson doesn't stop with sports, it is life. Every one of you faces chaos, pressure, noise. The only way to master it is to train your mind with reflection. Reflection is not just looking backward, it is sharpening forward. It is asking yourself, what did I do? Why did I do it? How can I improve? What matters most? Where am I going? Without reflection, you live blind, you live reactive, you live lost. With reflection, you see patterns, you break cycles, you correct mistakes, you align with purpose. You become proactive instead of reactive, intentional instead of impulsive. Reflection is the difference between repeating failure and learning from it, between drifting and directing, between wasting years and building them with precision. But reflection requires courage. It's easy to avoid your thoughts. It's easy to drown them out with noise. It's easy to distract yourself with entertainment because reflection forces you to face yourself, to face your flaws, to face your fears, to face your weaknesses. And most people run from that. They don't want to see the truth, so they hide in constant activity. But champions don't hide. Leaders don't hide. Transformers don't hide. They face themselves head on. They reflect. They learn. They grow. You cannot transform your life without facing your truth. And you cannot face your truth without focused reflection. And let's be clear, reflection is not daydreaming. It's not random thoughts. It's not drifting in your head. Reflection is focused. It is intentional. It is structured. It is sitting down with a journal, writing what you feel, what you learned, what you need to change. It is meditating on your actions, your emotions, your reactions. It is asking yourself the hard questions and not running from the answers. It is taking ownership of your inner world the same way you take ownership of your outer world. That is why I call it training. Because just like training your body, training your mind through reflection requires discipline, requires repetition, requires intensity. The evidence is powerful. Studies show journaling reduces stress, improves emotional clarity, increases resilience. Mindfulness rewires the brain, strengthens attention, reduces anxiety. Reflection practices boost self-awareness, and self-awareness is the foundation of growth. You cannot fix what you do not see. Reflection shines the light on what you must confront. It gives you data about yourself, patterns about your behavior, insights about your decisions. And when you train this daily, you begin to master yourself. Because the hardest opponent you will ever face is not outside you, it's inside you. And reflection is how you beat that opponent. Think about warriors before battle. They don't just rush in blind. They pause, they strategize, they review, they visualize. Reflection is your strategy session for life. Every day you face battles. And if you step into them without reflection, you step in unprepared. But if you reflect daily, if you sit down at the end of the day and review your actions, if you write what you learned, if you visualize tomorrow, then you enter battle with clarity, with calm, with preparation. That is how you gain the mental edge that separates champions from the average. Now, let me make this practical. Focused reflection could be 10 minutes in the morning, writing your intentions, visualizing your day, grounding yourself. It could be 10 minutes at night, reviewing your actions, asking, what did I do well? What can I improve? What lesson did I learn? It could be meditation, sitting in silence, breathing, observing your thoughts without judgment. It could be prayer connecting to something greater, finding wisdom in stillness. The method doesn't matter as much as the discipline. What matters is you carve the time every day to train your mind through reflection. That daily discipline compounds. Over weeks, months, years, it builds a mind that is sharp, resilient, unshakable, and reflection also creates gratitude. When you slow down, when you notice your blessings, when you write them down, you train your mind to see abundance instead of lack, to see opportunity instead of limitation. Gratitude changes perspective, and perspective changes everything. Reflection aligns your thoughts with power instead of fear, with growth instead of doubt, with discipline instead of chaos. And in that alignment, transformation becomes possible, but you must fight for it. The world will not give you silence. The world will not give you time to reflect. The world will drown you in distractions, in noise, in urgency. That is why you must carve it out with intention. You must say, this time is mine. This silence is mine. This reflection is mine. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Without reflection, you repeat cycles. You live in chaos. You drift. With reflection, you grow, you focus, you transform. That is the choice, and that choice must be made daily. So stop running from silence. Stop fearing stillness. Stop drowning in distraction. Sit down, breathe, write, reflect, face yourself, train your mind, because the body can be strong, the hustle can be relentless, but if the mind is unfocused, if the mind is untrained, then everything collapses. But if the mind is disciplined through focused reflection, then no storm can shake you. No pressure can break you. No chaos can control you. The mind is the ultimate weapon, but only if you train it. And the way you train it is not random. It is through focused reflection, daily, relentlessly. No excuses. Show me your circle and I will show you your future. Show me who you spend your time with and I will show you the direction of your life. Nobody becomes great in isolation. Nobody transforms their life while staying in environments that keep them small. Nobody achieves their fullest potential when surrounded by people who don't believe in growth. Environments are contagious. The energy of the people around you, the standards of the culture you live in, the habits of the community you belong to, all of it seeps into your soul, into your discipline, into your decisions. You can have all the ambition in the world, but if your environment is toxic, if your circle is stagnant, if your surroundings don't challenge you, then you will never rise. That is why transformation demands this. Surround yourself with growth environments. Think about a seed. You can take the strongest seed in the world, but if you plant it in dry soil, in darkness, with no water, it will never grow. Not because the seed wasn't strong, but because the environment was wrong. And the opposite is true. Even an average seed can bloom into something beautiful if the environment is fertile, if the soil is rich, if the conditions are right. You are that seed. Your potential is massive. Your dreams are real. Your abilities are powerful. But if you plant yourself in environments where negativity, laziness, gossip, excuses, and mediocrity rule, you will suffocate before you ever grow. The evidence is clear. Research shows that your habits are directly influenced by the habits of the people around you. Obesity spreads socially. Smoking spreads socially, but so does fitness, so does discipline, so does success. The people around you are mirrors of who you are becoming, whether you realize it or not. I learned this early in my career. In the league, the locker room was everything. If you surrounded yourself with men who were only there for the paycheck, who didn't study film, who skipped workouts, who complained that energy infected you, it dragged you down. But when you surrounded yourself with warriors, men who lived for the grind, who held you accountable, who demanded the best every single day, that energy lifted you, sharpened you, pushed you. The difference was night and day. Not because I changed, but because the environment either pulled the best out of me or buried it. And that's the same in life. You are not just shaped by what you want. You are shaped by where you are and who you're with. That's why you must be ruthless about your environment. Some of you are struggling not because you lack discipline, not because you lack talent, but because your environment is choking you. You spend time with people who don't dream, people who don't push, people who settle, people who laugh at growth, people who encourage your worst habits, people who normalize mediocrity. And you think you can rise while they drag you down. It doesn't work like that. You cannot fly with anchors tied to your feet. You cannot transform your life while your circle resists transformation. Surrounding yourself with growth environments is not optional. It is survival. Growth environments do two things. They challenge you and they inspire you. They challenge you by holding you accountable, by setting higher standards, by refusing to let you settle. They inspire you by showing you what's possible, by giving you examples of excellence, by proving that greatness is achievable. Without challenge, you get comfortable. Without inspiration, you get hopeless. Growth environments give you both. That is why great athletes train with other great athletes. That is why successful entrepreneurs mastermind together. That is why leaders surround themselves with leaders. Because iron sharpens iron, and dull blades cannot sharpen each other. But here's the hard truth. Sometimes surrounding yourself with growth environments means leaving people behind. Sometimes it means saying no to old friends, to family, to comfort zones, because they don't want to grow. And that is hard because loyalty pulls at you, history pulls at you, comfort pulls at you. But you must decide, do you want loyalty to people who keep you small or loyalty to your future? Do you want comfort in the familiar or growth in the unknown? You cannot serve two masters. You cannot grow while clinging to environments that stunt you. And you know it. You feel it when you're around people who drain you, who mock your discipline, who tempt you with old habits, who discourage your dreams. That heaviness, that resistance, that's your spirit telling you you're in the wrong environment. Listen to it now. Let's be clear. Growth environments don't just mean people. It's also the spaces you live in, the habits you allow, the inputs you consume. Your home, is it cluttered or organized? Your schedule, is it filled with intentional habits or wasted hours? Your media, is it filling your mind with negativity or possibility? Your environment is not just who you're with, it's what surrounds you. If your room is a mess, your mind will be a mess. If your phone is filled with distractions, your focus will be scattered. If your social media is filled with gossip and chaos, your spirit will absorb gossip and chaos. You cannot escape the influence of your environment. That's why you must design it with intention. Clean your space, structure your time, filter your inputs, choose your circle, build an environment that breathes growth. Evidence backs this too. Studies on willpower show that environment matters more than motivation. People who keep junk food out of the house eat healthier without trying. People who lay out their workout clothes the night before exercise more consistently. People who remove distractions from their workspace focus longer without needing superhuman discipline. It's not about being strong all the time. It's about being smart about your environment. Growth environments make good choices easier and bad choices harder. That is the secret. You don't need to fight willpower battles every day if your environment is set up to win them for you. And here's the beauty. Once you commit to growth environments, you start attracting growth-minded people. Energy recognizes energy. Discipline attracts discipline. People on fire will find each other. And soon you realize you're part of a tribe, a community, a culture of growth. And in that culture, you rise faster than you ever thought possible because you are no longer pulling yourself alone. You are carried by momentum, by collective energy. That's what makes teams powerful. That's what makes movements powerful. That's what makes communities transformative. Alone, you can go fast, but together you can go far. And when your environment is built on growth, you are never alone in the climb, but you must choose it daily. You must audit your environment daily. Ask yourself, who am I spending time with? What am I consuming? What spaces am I living in? Are they feeding my growth or draining it? If the answer is draining, you must change it. If the answer is neutral, you must upgrade it. If the answer is growth, then you must lean in deeper. Environments are not static, they are living, breathing forces that shape you every day. If you are not intentional, you drift into environments of comfort and mediocrity. If you are intentional, you design environments of growth and transformation. And remember, growth environments are not always comfortable. They will stretch you. They will demand more. They will expose your weaknesses. They will challenge your excuses. Comfort zones don't grow you, challenge zones do. Surround yourself with people who intimidate you a little, who inspire you a lot, who hold you accountable relentlessly. Put yourself in spaces where you feel like the small fish, because that forces you to grow into the big fish. Seek mentors who are ahead of you, peers who push you, communities that expect excellence. That is how you rise. If you are always the smartest, the strongest, the most disciplined in your circle, then your circle is too small. Growth demands environments that stretch you beyond your limits, and do not underestimate the spiritual side of environments. Negativity is contagious, but so is hope. Fear is contagious, but so is courage. Laziness is contagious, but so is discipline. The atmosphere you breathe daily seeps into your soul. That is why people who attend powerful events, who join strong communities, who surround themselves with passionate energy, often feel lifted, inspired, unstoppable. It's not magic, it's environment. You inhaled growth energy, and your spirit responded. You can create that every day by choosing where you go, who you see, what you consume. Your environment is a choice, and your transformation depends on that choice. So I tell you today, be ruthless about your environment. Cut out the people who pull you down. Distance yourself from spaces that keep you stagnant. Clean your room, clean your mind, clean your circle. Seek mentors, seek communities, seek spaces where growth is the standard, where excellence is expected, where discipline is normal, where dreams are encouraged. Surround yourself with environments that breathe growth into your lungs, that challenge you when you get comfortable, that inspire you when you get tired, that hold you accountable when you want to quit. Because in the end, you will not rise above your environment. You will rise with it or fall with it. So choose wisely, because your environment is not just where you are. It is who you become